What's good, gente? It's your boy Conejo. Ya saben, man. Today, we're gonna talk about some Surenos. Spencer, I'm over here puffing. We're gonna talk about some Surenos. Um, and why your boy Conejo is so cool with the Surenos. You know what I mean? Even though I have here and there some Surenos that get on here, but most of them are youngsters. And they start talking smack and trying to get all hard and shit, you know? I'm gonna talk about why Conejo's so cool with the Surenos and shit. Spencer. I apologize to my viewers that don't like smoking and all that. You know what I mean? So I apologize ahead of time, but I figured I would talk about this before your boy forget about it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna tell you guys why I'm so cool with the Sureños and my first encounter with Sureños on, I guess, when you're in the system on this side. You know what I mean? What were my thoughts and what was going through my head? Because I mean, at that moment, my first encounters, I still had some type of not hate, but I still see them some type of way, right? Even though I had encounters with them and I'd had dealings with Sureños and all this, but it was business at the end of the day, you know. It wasn't on some type of hate and on this whole set tripping type of shit, you know. So pretty much, my first encounter with Sureño was Cycle from Foresight. You know, when I had came to this side with my family, he was the first one that I noticed. And I remember he had a Foresight. He had PS on his head. I think PSW on his head. And I was like, what the hell? You know, like I kind of mugged him at first, and he laughed. You know, he smiled and laughed, and he was more paisanoed out. You know, he was like he was raza homie. You know, I'll just say it like that. And I ended up becoming super cool with this individual, but like I said, at first I did kind of like trip out on him. Then, your boy got sold up with a Sureño. You know, eventually through the time, I ended up selling up with a Sureño, which was my first Southsider Sally, and he was hella cool, homie. A lot of people would know who I'm talking about. He's from Brown Pride. They call him Lucky, homie. You know, even though I used to call him Mad Dog. That was my first Sureño Sally, homie. You know, that he was there for a body, and he would explain a lot of the things that he hate about Norteños, and I would tell him the same things, right? Like, look, homie, it's not that I hate you guys. It's just that I've been fighting you guys since a certain age that I got some type of hate. You know what I mean? But it's not that I hate you guys. It's like it's just business. I would see it as business. But now that I would tell him now that I'm on this side. I mean, I don't really care, homie. It is what it is. I choose to be cool with whoever I want to be cool with. And me and this fool became hella cool, homie. And I remember, even when I left, from the county to the pen, we stayed in communication, homie. You know, I rode him for a bit. I don't know if his family ended up moving out or something, but that's how the communication got cut. You know, he ended up going to high desert, and I hope he's doing good, homie. He got broken off. They gave him 33 years, I believe. And he was a good homie, to be quite real. I call him homie because he became my friend. I should say friend. He was a good friend. And he was in there because a homie ended up telling on him. You know, I might put the video. I might make a profile about him and put the video because on the things when I look it up, they make it seem like old boy wasn't gang related just because he was a white person. You know, and shout out to my white boys out there. You know, I said my love and full. He was white, so they made it seem like he was all decent. You know what I mean? They put the best pictures. You guys gotta understand that he was there from Santa Cruz. It was a person from Santa Cruz, but he had gave me a story, and I'll put it out there on a video. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to make it seem like I'm repeating it. Um, so pretty much that encounter with them, like it was cool. We came super cool, but I would still have some type of thing like when I would see like fools with 13 and all that. Cause you gotta remember I seen Sniper. So when Sniper went in there, he was all blasted up. I believe this dude had like the most 13s, and I believe a lot of homies that were still in there, even though they were not considered homies. Um, they still had some type of trip on them, bro. Like they would still be mugging them and all that. But I noticed that on this side, a lot of the Sureños, I was a little bit more cool with them, to be quite real, right? But I still had some type of hate, to be quite real. Not hate, but like I would still see them some type of way because like when I ran into the compas that were Southsiders, you know, from Vagos, from Salinas, from La Posada. And like I would see them at first, and I would trip on them like boom, like, and I didn't feel so comfortable like this. The trust that I had to build with the Sureños that I was cool with, it was through time. You get me? It wasn't like instantly like with some of the Northerners that you see like, oh, they like from the gate you can tell like, oh, this was cool, homie, you know. And it was because my guard was up, you know. Like I would keep like a distance with them, and through time I would be like, oh, this fool's hella firme, and I would have to bite my tongue, you know. Um, Eventually, well, I done said it hella times when I went to Ironwood. I mean, I did 2 years there. That was nothing but Sureños, you know? So all the homies that I became cool with, I started noticing that I think after a year, after a year, like and a half, no, not even that, like a year. After a year, I would like, see like new arrivals that would show up, but most of them would be from the South, homie, from Riverside, from LA, from San Diego, from the SGV area, you know what I mean? San Fernando Valley, you know, like all these little areas from down south. Even Bakersfield, you know. I would see them. I stopped noticing the whole south and north thing right there, right? Because like I said, it was mostly all Southsiders, and since all the Sureños, they were hella feeding with me, right? I was like, cool. I stopped seeing that shit. I would see 13s like whatever. What's up, homie? And they would probably feel some type of way at first. They probably felt the same way that I felt at the beginning, you know, because I was pretty much a new thing for them. You know what I mean? Because they would see the X4 and they would be like, "What the fuck?" Like I would get confused at first, like from some homies from Canton, you know, they'd be like, "Hey, you from Canton?" And then when I would tell them, because I have a W in my back, so they'd be like, "Hey," so at that time I wasn't all blasted up like this, you know, so they would be like, "Hey, bro, like, are you from what? Like, whatever you from?" Then I would explain to them, and they would be like, "Oh shit, you're from the north," you know, and like they probably felt some type of way, but eventually they would be like, "Hey." Hey, you're just like us. Because I remember that was something they would tell me, like, hey, bro, you're just like us, you know? And I would be like, well, fuck, well, you're just like us too, homie. You know, he's like, oh, I pictured you guys something totally different. I was like, yeah, because you guys are used to the whole rumor of the farmeros and like, oh, these fools are this and that, homie. But now I was like, we look exactly the same, homie. I was like, not to talk down to the Sureños that are from up north because now it's something totally different. But back then was you guys were a little bit still more raza, homie, like more paisanoed out, you know. And that's not in some type of disrespect and all that because you guys know how I feel about the raza, you know. I work with the raza, so shit, they should already be knowing. Um, but pretty much, they would see us like that, you know, and I would be like, nah, the Sureños are kind of like that. I would say that, right? Like, and now I'm biting my tongue again because now you can't even tell no more. And then especially if you go like these to the Bay Area and all these areas, you would really get confused, you know. And you'd be like, what the fuck? But that's just, I mean, that's just life, you know. I trip out, and so I became to a point where I wouldn't trip. Like, bam. So when I left from right there, I went to Soledad. There was compas that were sureños and all that, and I was totally different after that. You know, after my whole Ironwood experience, I was totally different, homie, because I started noticing that I would communicate more with the Sureño compas and even the Sureños that were just right there on the yards. Like I would chop it up with them a little bit more than with the actual so-called ex-homies or whatever you want to call them, right? Don't get me wrong, the compas I would always chop it up evenly around, right? But I'm talking about the ones that weren't compas and weren't affiliated. I had sometimes better understanding with the ones that were Southsiders. You know, I would communicate perfect with them. Maybe because of my whole little stilo that right here in Watson we got. You know, that we're a little bit more Chicanos. We're more, you know what I mean. We don't tend to say a lot the N word, even though your boy slips up and says it a lot. You know, because of the whole sack and you know what I mean. But that's a whole different story, homie. And I done talked about it already, but that's a word that I'm trying not to say no more. And I didn't say that for a minute, you know what I mean? So I started noticing that I had better bonds at times, and I started because I like the stilo, homie, on certain individuals. And as you can see now, homie, I mean, shout out to all the Southsiders that fuck with your boy. That's one of the reasons why your boy's so cool with the Southsiders, homie. And I don't see him like that because of all the shit that I went through, you know. And I'm actually glad that I got to experience that, right? Like that I got to go down south. I got to kick it down there because not everyone wants to go down there. If you're from up north, you're trying to stay up in this area. You know what I mean? You ain't trying to go down south. But I'm happy I did though. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to actually get to meet people and interact with like actual homies, and that's why I call homies sureños at times. And I have people like, well, who do you refer to when you say homies? You know, and that's why I get it mixed up, bro, because I don't see that shit. I don't see the whole Southsiders not being homies. What I should be calling them camaradas. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna talk to the homie Listo later on when I go live, or we're to chop it up, and I'm gonna tell him, hey, bro, what do you guys call each other? Because I'm pretty sure they call each other homies too. You know what I mean? But when we're on YouTube and all that, when people say homies, they're referring to the norteños. So pretty much, what should we? What's the name that the Sureños would want to be called? If it's homies, then fuck it, homie, and then I'm in the good. But if they don't want to be called homies, what would it be? Camarada, carnalito, perrito. You know, because I know that's a word that the Sureños say too, perrito. What would it be, homie? You know. So if you want to leave a comment, homie, let me know. What if you're a Sureño or anything? If you want to let me know, like, hey, homie, that's the word I'd rather be called instead of homie. Then that's what we go by, homie. You know what I mean? I'll try to get that shit in the lingual, so that way I have people that don't be complaining. But I'm gonna cut this video right here, man. So I hope I did answer some people that were confused because they tend to think that I hate on certain people when I don't. And then they ask me why I'm so cool with certain people. You know what I mean? When I'm supposed to have some type of hate. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I hope I answered both. And I will get to another video eventually. I don't know if today or tomorrow. Um, I'll get to it if your boy hates norteños, which I mean it's pretty obvious. I show nothing but love, but I will answer that because of the whole Buster Free and some of my tattoos that have broken stars, and I guess I'll do a better breakdown on it. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. With all that being said, man, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, man, put a thumbs up. If you didn't, homie, it's all good at the end of the day, homie. Whatever pleases you. They're both free. Thumb downs. Hey, let's just let your boy know what's up too. You know. So with all that being said, man, make sure to drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think, bro. If these are the type of videos you guys want me to drop and explaining and shit like that, like I said, drop a comment, put a question for Conejo, you know. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, man. And with all that being said, man, I send my love and food to everyone. It's your boy Conejo, and I'm out.